Hope folks are doing well. Hope I am coming through clearly. We got a light crew tonight. Makes me wonder if something's going on that I don't know about. But hope folks are doing good. And reminder, while I will do my best to keep up with the chat, the only thing that guarantees interaction or that I answer your question or respond to your comment is to do it as a super chat, which also gets you a little heart of appreciation from me. So, how was my weekend? Good. Exhausting. I went with my boyfriend to the Great New England Corn Maze, which, that thing, 3.5 hours. That's how long we were there. Like, it's not flat. It's on a hill. So at one point we were huffing it up and down. Like, we would hit a dead end at the bottom of the hill and have to hoof it back up the damned hill. But I'm glad I did it, but oh boy. And my legs are still sore today. That thing does not mess around. And whenever I tell people about this thing, they're like, oh, did you know there's all these techniques you can use to get through corn mazes? Like, yeah, I do. So does the guy who designs these things. And he specifically designs them so those don't work. So he takes it very serious. But that was a chunk of my weekend. Also went to a burlesque show on Saturday. I wasn't in it. I was only in the audience, but it was a lovely show. I'm going to lower this just a smidge. Thank you for re-upping the membership, Dharma. Greatly appreciated. Infinite love and zero regrets. That's a good combination to have if you can get it. Granted, I'm not really part of the discourse on Sarah Jane Adventures, Zactyl, but I don't think I would say it gets looked down on. Actually, every time I see it brought up, it's always with an immense amount of affection. Now, granted, like, when I talk about it, I'm like, it's not really for me because it's so clearly aimed at a younger demographic, which doesn't make it bad, but it does make it so I'm like, okay, this is a young kid's version of Doctor Who. Cool. And like, it's fine, but you know, it's not something I ever really connected with, but I always felt like the odd one out for that opinion. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Again, because I haven't seen it past the first season, I just don't really, I don't really know what the discourse is like around that. I have not, Ms. Wicked Wolf. I have not had the time. The one I would like to find the time to watch is Chaos. I've not found the time. I would like to. Thank you, Joel. Nice to see someone recognize the validity of drinking pickle juice straight from the jar. Yes, it is, Ms. Wicked Wolf. Coyote Azul coming in with first super chat because Dharma was re-upping a membership. Got any clothes you wear when you are in a DGAF mood? It depends on the temperature. Like if it's winter and I'm in a DGAF mood, I never get out of my pajamas. If it's summer, honestly, I'll probably throw on the closest things I have to gray sweatpants and like a sleeveless shirt and call it a day. Don't be sad that it's over, Ms. Wicked Wolf. Be happy that it was so damn good. Clothes? What clothes? I do own clothes. I understand that if you follow me elsewhere, that might be a hard thing to believe. But I do usually most days put clothes on. Usually. Well, happy birthday, Charlie. Hope it's a good one. Hope it treats you well. I'm not planning to, Ms. Wicked Wolf. Like, unless the reviews are, like, through the roof, and even then I might not. Like, okay, let me put it this way. If the reviews for Agatha All Along, if those reviews are really stellar, then I might give the first 1 or 2 episodes a try on that basis. But if I think of it, what I expect I'm going to think about it, I probably still won't talk about it, because if everyone else is enjoying it, I don't want to be the one grumpy jackass who's being, who's crapping on everybody's fun. I don't want to be that person unless I think there's something genuinely wrong with it. Sorry, give me a second. I saw that a trailer exists, Ms. Wicked Wolf. I don't even know what Dogman is, so wearing DGAF shirt right now. Yellow bait shop tee from a fishing trip with my dad and uncle from years ago. Like, I have enough t-shirts that, like, I don't think just saying, oh, I throw it on a t-shirt works as a general thing, because, like, honestly, it's usually a question of, am I planning to be perceived today or not? Which isn't quite the same as DGAF. That is, my tongue is tripping up on that one. It's not quite the same thing. Question, what was she wear? Not what doesn't she wear? Hey, Meg. Good to see you. But like I've got a decent amount of t-shirts. And like, if I'm not planning to go on camera today, then like I'll just throw on whatever. Do we know that there's gayness in there, Ryan, or is that just blind fan hoping? Because I'm inclined to think it's the latter, but correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't really been keeping on top of it very much. Not really, Ms. Wicked Wolf. When you ask me that stuff, I don't know what to do with that. These absolute non sequiturs. I don't know what to do with that. I finished doing The Prisoner. Original, I hope, Adrian, and not the remake. I still got to push Jessie to watch the remake so I can hear her bitch about how bad it is. Harassed by your dog. How is Coco, by the way, Meg? Other than, little pain in the butt. Which is her job, to be fair. I think I knew that, Ms. Wicked Wolf. Doesn't mean I know anything about it. Aubrey Plaza say it's the gayest thing she's ever been in. That's a claim. And as much as I love Aubrey Plaza, I'm disinclined to believe that. And that's not a knock on her. That's more a knock on what she signed up for versus what we'll get. I don't know. Part of me actually wonders if I'm going to be more annoyed if it ends up being a really gay show. Because, like, I have a litany of reasons why I don't think I'm going to like it. And it gets frustrating because, like, the more and more things that are in it that are general things that I like, but I still don't like this, like, it honestly almost makes it worse. Don't know how long I'll be on this time, as currently halfway through a double bill of Friday the 13th Part 5 and Elm Street Part 2. Wow, that's a heck of a pairing. Part 5. That was fake Jason, if I remember correctly. What do you think of canceled TV spinoffs like Paternoster Gang, The Adventures of River Song, or the Rose one? So when you say canceled, you mean ones that never even happened, but like were rumored or the fans wanted them or whatever. I generally don't have any thoughts. It's pretty rare for me to have thoughts on something that doesn't exist. So I don't really have too much to say about that kind of thing overall. And just kind of go, okay, yeah, I can see why some people would want that. Didn't happen though. We were talking about Agatha All Along, black cover. Which TV character has made you want to punch them in the face recently? Recently? Trying to think what I've seen that had a real annoying character recently. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I feel real bad when people ask questions like that because they're good, fun questions, but I'm just really bad at answering them. Trying to wrangle my brain for an answer to something like that, and I just can't. Elijah Anderson, thank you very much for a very generous super chat. That is immensely appreciated. Greetings from Boise. My pronouns are he, him, so Mr. Anderson joke is appropriate. Mr. Anderson. Anyway, I checked out the Twilight of the Gods trailer. Looks cool, honestly. Mythology seems a better for Zack Snyder's Stay Safe. Twilight of the Gods. That sounds familiar, but what is this? Twilight of the Gods official trailer. Netflix. Zack Snyder. What? What is this? I have not heard of this thing. What the hell? Sorry, give me a second. I'm investigating something here. Based on Norse mythology. Huh. This French animation company. Skydance, Space Ghost. I know, it's fascinating watching me read, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything from this studio before. The first images that I pulled up were vaguely Cartoon Saloon-esque. I haven't seen it in motion, though. Give me a quick second. Just pulling up a teaser.
To Heaven's door.
Oh, yeah. All right, that looks pretty good in motion.
They want war.
What is Snyder's actual role in this thing? Sorry, I've gotten very distracted. Created by. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, just created by credit for him on this, which also might make it better. Look, Snyder seems like a perfectly nice guy, but... So thank you for bringing that to my attention, Mr. Anderson. I was unaware of that. What would be your Deem? I can talk. Dream TV show pitch concept. Again, Kate, these kinds of questions are fantastic. These are great questions that I suck at answering. Like, I don't have it's really hard for me to conceptualize without guidelines. Like, I don't have like a go-to, well, this is what I really want to do, because I don't. It's an extension of how, how I talk about, I'm really bad at dream casting or fan casting anything, or of doing speculation or guessing or predicting what's going to happen in a show or whatnot, because there's that part of my brain that goes, just wait and find out. Similarly, there's a part of my brain that goes, you're not going to have the chance to pitch something like this anyway, so why are you wasting your time thinking about that when you could be putting your thought and effort into things you can actually get done? Which is why, first thing that comes to my mind is my own freaking novel. But that's not because I think that's the best thing in the world or that's the only thing I could think of. But it's because something that I already have. Whereas in reality, if I was actually given the chance to pitch a show to a network, I would really want some guidelines, like give me tone or genre or something. And I could probably come up with something that I'd be happy with. But it's really hard for me to think of that if I don't actually have the opportunity to make a pitch, because my brain says that is a waste of creative energy. And I know for some people that's a fun thought exercise or you know, just a general creative dream to have. I can't. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I feel bad whenever I get questions like that. Cause again, I'm just an awful person to ask. Coco's doing much better. Oh, that's good, Meg. Needs a haircut. When does she not need a haircut? Good grief. I've not had a good day, basically. I am very sorry to hear that, 255. I hope that it gets better and or tomorrow is a nicer one. Tara Staller, thank you very much for the super chat. Hey Vera, are you planning on doing a review of Dracula's ex-girlfriend? And if not, do you have any quick thoughts on it? I don't have any quick thoughts because I haven't seen it yet. Because I need to renew my Nebula subscription, which I'm probably not going to do until next month, which would make it more appropriate anyways, because I think it'll be fitting to do it in October. Boom. I just finished Big Finish's remake of The Prisoner. Really? A remake? I hope to commission you to look at it someday. It starts as a remake of the show, then evolves into its own kind of weirdness. As long as it stays appropriately weird. That's an interesting notion, especially from Big Finish. The Prisoner, oh man, The Prisoner it's brilliant and it's batshit and the ending's so weird. I don't even think it's bad, but wow, it's weird. Pedro Nostiga's spinoff was spoken of in an interview with Stephen Moffat. It does make me wish it happened because I felt them a bit too overused for what they ended up being in Series 7. I feel like that's a fair comment where if they were given a spinoff, they would have been used less in the show, which might have been good. Yeah. Oh, the trailer's out for the new Salem's Lot? Huh. I have yet to finish anything Stephen King has ever written, so I can't do. I'm not good for comparison from book to film, or miniseries, or whatever. Let's see, Supreme Omega. Thank you very much for the super chat. Even if we didn't know about Whedon's personal BS, do you think Xander still would have aged poorly in modern times? Because in 90s, 2000s, he wasn't divisive. I mean, yeah. Yeah, because Xander was, in a lot of ways, a stand-in for Whedon himself at a younger age. And I think, as a result, there were a lot of, especially at least at the time, male-identifying fans who probably gravitated towards Xander as feeling like the closest thing to a character who spoke specifically to them. And he just kind of leans into a lot of stuff. Like, Xander is ultimately, at the end of the day, suffering from a lot of the same problems as the quintessential nice guy, you know, whether we're talking about the narrative archetype or the real life notion. And I think there's a lot about Xander that probably ages badly regardless. I don't think he would be looked at with quite as much scrutiny if it wasn't for, you know, the stuff that has come out about Whedon since. And, you know, we didn't all kind of know that Xander at times was a stand-in for Whedon. Not always, but sometimes. And I think that made it worse. But I think Xander was probably always the character who was going to age the worst from that show. I got lost in a strange town, threw up gagging on some ice cubes in a drink, had to figure out how to get my dog back on a houseboat. Wow! That is a lot, 255. I hope your holiday gets better. Phil! Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Have a lifetime membership to Nebula. Best money I've spent. I re-up intermittently just because, like, I'm not there often enough to justify even doing an annual. I forgot to type my message. I was wondering, Phil. Was wondering if you had any thoughts on the upcoming Star Wars movies. What even is on the schedule and how official is it? Because they have canceled multiple Star Wars things repeatedly at this point. Hang on. Star Wars. films. Upcoming, what do we got? Oh, right. The Mandalorian and Grogu. Do not care. Aggressively do not care. And then we have 3 untitled films that I will believe when they have a trailer. Because we have a new Jedi Order film, which is supposed to see the return of Rey. That's in pre-production and the most likely to happen. We have untitled Dawn of the Jedi film. Don't even know what the hell that's supposed to be. James Mangold directing. They'll want to get that one moved forward because he's a hot director at the moment. And untitled New Republic film. Wow. That's nothing. Yeah, I have no opinion. Like, you have to remember how many things have already been announced and canceled. Like Mandalorian and Grogu, we know that one's happening. That one's factual. Of the other ones, like, I mean, probably at least one of those will happen, but like, I don't know enough about any of these to have an opinion. I don't care about the Mandalorian and Grogu one because I don't care about the Mandalorian. So, yeah. Sorry, give me a second. What's your favorite live action movie with James Earl Jones? See, the first thing that came to mind feels like a cheat because he's practically a cameo. He shows up as a voice in one scene and then physically at the very end. But I don't know. I really like him in Sneakers. That's a fun movie anyway. Favorite quote from the 10th Doctor. Oh, God. You ask me these really open-ended questions and my brain freezes up. Jeez. Like, this is the thing, my brain freezes up and I'm like, this is good visual media as I sit here and desperately try and come up with something. I don't know if this is actually my favorite, but this is what is coming to my head. Oh, should we leave it alone? Should we back off? Should we play it safe? Nah, you say, let's make it bigger! What would you do if you suddenly had $1 million? Pay off my debts and have a retirement plan? Like, I know that's a really boring answer, but I'm too pragmatic. I'm too pragmatic to have a fun response to that. Wind blew the boat out slightly while I was taking him out. I had to get my dad up to help him while I pulled on the rope. Good grief, 255. Hope it gets better for you. Biblical epic origin of the Jedi Order movie. Oh. Okay. I'm excited for Andor season 2. I'm mostly excited. Like, I'm slightly nervous about it not being as good as season 1. Nice lighting, looking good, Vera. Thank you very much, David Gipe. I appreciate that quite a bit. Young James Earl Jones was in Doctor Strangelove. He was one of the only Stanley Kubrick movies I actually like. Let's see. With regards to the Ice Cubes, pub landlady was very understanding, but I don't think we should eat here again. Oh, fair enough. Don't apologize. I like your answer. I'd buy you a green dress, but not a real green dress. That's cruel. I caught you, Aaron. I know that reference. If I had $1 million, I can't sing more of the song. Next year is the Switch 2, all the games coming out for that. So I want to be ready. Well, that'll keep you busy. I mostly play indie games anyway, just because I play 2D because 3D makes me sick. So indie is my bread and butter regardless. I don't like Kubrick films. No, not really. Not really Black Cover. Some of his movies I outright actively despise. Others are half good. No, I don't really like Kubrick. Have I seen everything he's made? No, but I've seen enough of his stuff to know that it's probably not worth my time to see the things of his that I haven't seen. I don't like the shine. Okay, Dagsby, I have to assume you're new here. Because I feel like it's relatively well known at this point that I hate The Shining. I hate that movie so much. The Shining, every insufferable film bro's favorite horror movie. Ugh. Glad someone got the reference. I like Bare Naked Ladies. Good stuff. Have you seen any of Blake 7? No. No, Louise, I have not. I am aware of it. I hated that. Yeah, exactly, Meg. That is very much the energy. Also admit The Shining becomes grating if you watch it too many times. I would say it's grating. Some of it is grating right off the bat. Like, some of it gets worse with repeat viewing, but a lot of it just doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't. I just listened to the What the Frell episode where you went off of The Shining. I don't even remember which episode that was. I'm not a horror person, such a scaredy cat, but I'm beyond excited for Agatha All Along. Also scared I'm going to be having nightmares for the next 2 months. Again, maybe it'll be good. I don't have a lot of hope. It's well shot. I won't defend it hard. Strangelove, definitely my fave. I like Strangelove. The other one that I like, I'm going to put in quotes, not because I don't, but like I connected with it because I watched it at basically the ideal point in my life where I was going to appreciate it the most. But I do think I do still have a soft spot for Clockwork Orange. I know that there's a lot of stuff that makes people very uncomfortable about that movie, and it's all valid, but I think that one's pretty good. 2001: A Space Odyssey is a third of a great movie. The middle third is phenomenal. Beginning and the end. Full Metal Jacket, I have only seen parts of, and it didn't seem like a movie that would benefit from me seeing from start to finish, to be honest. I meant even if you like The Shining, you can get irritating after a while. Maybe it's just Kubrick's style we get tired of. There's plenty to get tired of about Kubrick. Purple Raider. Hey, Vera, you okay? Yeah, I'm all right. I'm tired and my muscles are sore because I was trying to get out of a corn maze yesterday, but I'm all right. Who is the best of the Torchwood team? You can't say Jack Harkness. That's cheating. It wouldn't be Jack anyway. It'd probably be Tosh. Because it'd probably be Tosh followed by Yanto. Because Owen's a piece of garbage. Owen is such a horrible person. And I'm not saying you can't like him, but like, he's awful. He's really, really bad. And Gwen is also a pretty terrible person, but you're meant to like her for some reason. And Jack is nowhere near as fun on Torchwood as he is on Doctor Who. So, Paths of Glory is great too. I don't think it would bug. Oh, maybe not. Interesting, Vera. The middle was the part I hated. The noise was like a drill through my head. Granted, I haven't watched it in a long time, so that might be fair. But I just found the stuff between the astronauts and Hal to be really good and really tense. And both the opening and the ending just, they drag a lot. And like, I like trippy stuff like that, but this is honestly a core problem with Kubrick in general. Things that like he has sold and made his point in 30 seconds, he's going to take 4 minutes to do. I think if I were to say it, like crystallize my core issue with Kubrick, it's that. You know what's ironic? The part of today I most enjoyed is sitting in the back of the boat listening to a podcast about Rwanda. Wow. Yeah, that is a bit ironic. Honorable mentions to recent PC Andy. They would have gotten proper shout outs if they had been actual team members, Carowin. Because honestly, they're both better than the rest of them deserve. Corn maze is a great word for bilingual fun times because it sounds like you're saying corn twice. Ah, I see what you did there, Michael. Have you ever seen American Horror Story? Yes, I saw the first 5 seasons of that. I did a video on the 3rd season a couple years back on the main channel. I did it for an October video a little bit back because that 3rd season is a mess, even by American Horror Story standards. Have you seen the recent Futurama episode? Nope. Haven't seen the last couple seasons. They're on Hulu? Or did it move again? I can't keep track. I saw like the previous revival, a little bit of it, I think. I don't know. It's been dead and come back so many times I have lost track. Discord, yes! Thank you, Carowin. So I'll be back in a few minutes, folks. I need to hop over to the Discord to see what questions are there, and I will be back briefly, or presently, because I am currently taking a look at the Discord. Are you familiar with Gigi's thread reacting to her first time watching Doctor Who? Yes, I am. So for folks who don't know, there is a person on Twitter, goes by Gigi. The handle is at Damon's Matt, who has been doing these gloriously excited reactions going through Doctor Who for the first time, and she's so excited by everything. It's honestly kind of magical, like to see someone express that level of excitement and joy over the show. I recommend seeking it out. It's a lot of fun. Are you planning on doing something special when you reach the 100K subs? I mean, probably, but I don't have a plan right now because that's not happening this year. Next year, if I'm very lucky, but realistically, we're probably looking at 2026 for that at my standard growth rate. So yeah, that is far enough off that no, I don't currently have any plans. Have you seen Shogun? Nope. Sounds great. So it's not like I've made a decision, I won't watch that. That's on the pile of, I would probably like that if I ever get frickin' time. How do you feel about novels or movies that have major characters whose stories don't really intersect in any way? I read a novel series about the Roman conquest of Greece. 2 of the main POV characters are regular Greek soldiers and regular Roman soldiers. I like both their stories, but they never met or really affect each other's lives in any way. Depends on the nature of the story. Because if it's meant to give you a broader picture, there is a value in having the perspective of someone whose story maybe doesn't cross paths with the others, but gives you a more complete look at the world, the setting, a moment in history, etc. Where I tend to get frustrated is where I'm forced to sink a lot of time into a character who I can't figure out why they're there, and they get established early on, and it keeps coming back to them, but there's no clear connection made until like the end. And I'm like, well, obviously there was going to be some connection, but you play it like a twist, and I've been wondering the whole time, why do we keep cutting back to this? The example that is leaping to mind at the moment was the Brendan stuff from the first part of the Timeless Child 2-parter on Doctor Who, but that's not even a really good example. There's other stuff that's like that, though. That, like, has this, ooh, here's this other thing that we're doing. Okay, well, you're obviously cutting to that because it's going to matter later. And then my brain gets ahead of the story 9 times out of 10 when they do that. That's the kind of stuff I dislike. And like most writing techniques, tropes, and tricks, it can work. It doesn't always. The other day, I said I think it's easy to conflate politeness with goodness when dealing with friendly conservatives. You said you prefer to assume ignorance rather than malice. My problem with that is if it's just ignorance, why do they often double down when you offer them real evidence that shows they're wrong? Because people don't want to change. And again, that's not malice. I am hesitant to attribute malice to many people. That's not to say I will never attribute malice. There is malice. Malice is out there. Malice exists. And I could name you names, but I don't feel like doing it right now. But the thing is, I have said for a while now, the core flaw of the human animal is that of laziness. And I don't just mean like physical labor. I mean emotional labor. I mean intellectual labor. When you confront something with something that challenges their way of viewing the world, you are asking them to commit to emotional and intellectual labor to take on board what you've said, reassess their own beliefs, and come up with new ones. And most people don't want to do that. Not because they are malicious against the thing that they're ignorant about, but because they just don't want to put in the effort. Now, again, as a practical matter, as a matter of pragmatism and like how we handle and view things, it's a distinction without a difference. In terms of the broad scope, it doesn't matter if somebody is bigoted because they are ignorant or are bigoted because they are malicious. For example, not everything is bigotry, but just for example. Ultimately, as a practical matter, that's a distinction without a difference. Where the distinction matters is when you are dealing with people one-on-one. That distinction does matter because it's going to impact how you assess, communicate, and or choose to not communicate with specific individuals. We always have to be careful to talk about handling individuals in a one-on-one interaction basis differently from how we deal with groups, especially political groups. And I don't just mean political parties, like your race is a political designation. Thanks to a whole lot of nonsense, your sexuality is a political designation. Like, we need to be very careful to not talk about individuals the exact same way we talk about groups. Because when you talk about groups, ultimately the why they're like this doesn't matter because it's going to vary for each individual, but what they're doing as a body is what's important. When you're talking about an individual person, why they're doing it probably matters a lot. So that's more the point that I was trying to get to. Have you ever had an experience that was really annoying and stressful at the same time, but even as it was happening, you knew it would just be a funny story to tell late because the stakes weren't really that high? The riverboat thing. I was desperately trying to figure out where I was on the map on my phone. I had a moment. I thought this situation would be fun to joke about if I wasn't still living through it. I probably have. I can't say anything comes to mind. I tend to, in exceptionally stressful situations, I either tend to check out or focus so hard that no part of my brain has the extra room to have that thought. So it's probably happened. I couldn't cite you an example, though. Okay. I am back. Let's see. I think what they were going for with Gwen is an everyman character who gets corrupted. It didn't take much. Like, Gwen didn't really do much to resist being corrupted. She's pretty on board with it in a lot of ways. There it is. Purple Raider back again with the super chat. Thank you very much. How do you feel the perception of fan base ruining a film or show? For example, my boyfriend won't watch Dark Knight because she can only think right-wing idiots who idolize and fantasize about the Joker. Oh, it's a thing. I've had fandoms ruin stuff for me. Fandoms ruined fans of Inside Number 9 ruined that show for me. Like, there's it's you can make an argument that it is not necessarily the fault of the piece of art, and that maybe it is unfair to that piece of art to go like, I don't want to engage with this because of the fan base. But at the same time, there is validity to looking at the people who like a thing and going, if that's who likes it, I don't really want it. And like when you have that kind of conflict where like you're trying to tell somebody, yeah, but forget the idiots, it's actually quite good, and they're going, yeah, but only idiots like it. You're actually not really talking about the same thing. They're talking about how liking a thing is going to make them feel because of the other people who also say they like it. Whereas you're talking about the thing more in isolation on its own merits, and it's not really the same conversation. But it's absolutely a thing that happens. So like that experience is 100% valid. Aw, Megan Caroline group watch? That'd be sweet as heck. Where are we at? Good night, Meg. Thank you for stopping in. Little scritches to Coco. Sufficiently advanced ignorance / stupidity is indistinguishable from malice. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, that works pretty well. Coyote Azul, that actually works pretty decently. Why is space? Because space is all. Toxic side of Star Wars has made me question if I want to keep interacting with it. Like, I stick around with stuff like Star Wars. Well, to an extent, I have bailed on a fair bit of Star Wars at this point. But, like, stuff that I've had an interest in for longer than I've been aware of the toxicity is stuff that I'm more likely to hold on to longer. Whereas if you discover something and then almost immediately discover the toxic fan base, that's going to put you off. I mean, that's what happened to me with Inside Number 9, which is a show that I enjoyed the first series of, and I probably would have liked more if I'd felt like watching it, but I didn't. Fanbase completely put me off of it. Fandom totally turned me off Arrested Development, so yeah, I could buy that. I never got into that one. For me, it just seemed overhyped. Like I'd see clips and go, okay, that seems fine. Everything Yassi said about fans is absolutely true. I'm more inclined to turn to Stephanie Sterling's go-to quote about fans. And forgive me in advance for the swear, but I'm quoting. The fan base is fucking exhausting. That's kind of my go-to for that. Not liking the fans has made me not want to try out so much music. That makes sense too, Jason. I buy that. Excuse me. Admittedly, I stayed away from Star Wars for a long time because of the fans. Now that I've dipped my toes in, again, I'm turned off. Go figure. Yep, you mentioned that, Ms. Wicked Wolf. Please don't spam the chat like that. What really bugged me with regard to Owen and Torchwood is his origin story has him as a well-adjusted doctor with a wife. I just don't buy that. Yeah, it is. So it's basically sort of perpetuating the idea that a sufficient loss just breaks a person, and like then he's fractured and hurt, and it turns him into an asshole. Like, there's no way he wasn't at least a bit of an asshole prior to that. I suppose if they'd spent more time on him, you could have made a case for, like, maybe he was a little bit of an asshole and he was better with her, and then when he lost her, he dove headlong into his existing bad tendencies that he had done his best to walk away from when she was around. But that's me headcanoning. The show itself doesn't really back that up, at least in terms of what we see properly. I'm really liking a lot of new Star Wars. I like Rogue One. I like Andor. I liked The Force Awakens. I think that might be about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, good night, Purple Raider. Thank you for stopping in. Night Vera & Co. would sign off with your outro, but don't have enough money today. Aw, well, thank you for stopping in, and thank you for your generosity. I greatly appreciate it. Owen just came off so much as an eternal bachelor that dark backstory needed to be something else, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, potentially. Again, like, my big issue with Fragments is that it's completely undermined by the next episode. It's like, oh, look at these backstories, and like, we get a little for Yanto, not a lot, because it was a lot of his stuff was covered earlier. It was like, oh, look what Tosh went through to be here. Look what Owen went through to be here, and we're gonna kill them both next episode. What a waste! What a freaking waste! It just it feels like trying to give depths to characters you know you're about to kill off just to try and have the kill hurt more. Boy, do I hate that. Or in The Last Dragon or in Kanto. I don't know. I don't actually feel a really strong desire to rewatch either of them at the moment. Wow, was Unit a bunch of jerks and Fragments? Oh, yeah. I tried to get through Andor, but I couldn't help but feel like it was a chore. I mean, like, Andor is heavy. So if you generally come to Star Wars for the light adventure with a little melodrama, then Andor's a lot. Regardless of what we think of The Last Jedi, it's so funny that it seemed to have done irreparable psychic damage to right-wing men they've never recovered. I still... Okay, all right. Mildly hot take, vacuum of comments. While they were the ones who complained about it, I feel like it did damage to the people who liked it too. Because I swear, every few months, I see arguments about the goddamn Last Jedi break out on my social media feeds again. And about half the time, it's started by people who like it but are still mad that some people don't. Which to me speaks to issues on both sides, because if you can't just like it and go, well, some people don't like it and I think their reasons are dumb, and leave it at that, but instead you have to go in and be like, oh, you're all wrong and dumb and here's why and you're all that. Like, let it go. Let it go. How old is that damn movie at this point? All of you, both sides, whether you love it or hate it, stop talking about it. Let it go already. My God. I didn't even like it that much, but I sure as hell am not interested in the discourse. The fact that there still is discourse about that damn movie. Ha! Aaron! That is a very generous super chat, and I appreciate it immensely. Ooh, Canadian. This is Canadian dollars, so you might be able to get yourself a Starbucks coffee, maybe Dunkin'. Well, it is pumpkin spice season, so, and there is a Dunkin' in my area. There is not a Starbucks. There aren't a ton of Starbuckses in Vermont. that I know of. Also in previous scenes, he talked about that Pilot, like, she's the only woman he ever loved. Then we're told he used to have a wife. I mean, that's your standard fill-in retcon. I love The Last Jedi. I didn't like Rise of Skywalker. Couldn't get past the first 5 minutes of it. I had fun with The Rise of Skywalker, but it's a bad movie. I did not have fun with The Last Jedi. And while parts of it are very good, I think there were a lot of deep, fundamental flaws with that. But again, I don't really like talking about it at this point because, a bit like how we talked before about how, like, the fandom puts you off, the other people who hate The Last Jedi really make me not want to talk about why I don't like The Last Jedi, because I look at the people who are holding this same conclusion as me and go like, I want nothing to do with you frickin' people. But I don't like it. I think there's a lot of core fundamental problems with the movie. Some of it's character, some of it's plot. There's a lot of stuff that I'm like, this doesn't work. And again, not for any of the nonsense reasons I hear shouted at the top of people's lungs, but I don't like it. I don't like the movie. What's your favorite plot line? And Andor, my favorite was the prison. Oh, same, Alec. That prison storyline is amazing. I crossed the border, grabbed some Timbits. I've actually never had those. Given how close I am to the Canadian border, I should. Owen had all the emotional depths of a teaspoon for so long. I had problems with him in the bathroom with the attraction pheromone scene. I mean, Owen was just, here's kind of the problem, especially with season 1 of Torchwood. Owen was the team asshole on a team already made up of assholes. So, like, he's the asshole-ish, the most asshole-ish of the assholes. I'm like, I got asshole overload over here. Don't think too much about that statement. Maybe we all need to take a vacation from Star Wars for a while. Maybe Disney needs to take a vacation from Star Wars, but they won't. They won't ever stop. They won't ever stop with that. They won't ever stop with Marvel. Warner Brothers won't ever stop with DC. They just won't. I've already done a video on it, so we can't move on. The world officially ended in 2017, apparently. Was that how long it's been? For some reason, I thought 8 years. I guess it's only been 7. That is a bizarre question, Black Cover. Trump never has and never will apologize for anything in his goddamn life, so that's a bizarre thing to even have an opinion on. Sort of Hand of Omega. I play indie games and retro games, largely just because 3D makes me motion sick, so I stick to 2D anyway. The one with the people from the fish is probably my favorite Torchwood episode. Honestly, Adrift is probably, Adrift as a single episode is probably the best. I mean, the best Torchwood thing at all is Children of Earth, but I kind of talk about that as a whole. I gave up on the Star Wars franchise when they made a running joke of Grogu eating the alien passenger's eggs. It was not funny. It was totally bad for a spaghetti western pastiche. I mean, Mandalorian was fine. It was repackaged nostalgia, and I was bored with it even before it became more blatant in the fact that it was repackaged nostalgia. Best classic film director, Hitchcock or Kubrick? Oh, Hand of Omega, you have inadvertently stepped in it because I went off on Kubrick earlier. I really don't like Kubrick. Between the two of them, I'll take Hitchcock. Both horrible human beings, for the record. Both really atrocious men. So when I say best, I'm talking strictly about the films that they made. I would rather watch a Hitchcock film than a Kubrick film. Every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Both horrible human beings. We used to have Dunkin' here, but haven't really for a long time. Aside from Starbucks and Krispy Kreme, it's local chains. I mean, honestly, the more local stuff, the better. There's a There's a bakery across the street from the Dunkin' now, which is quite nice. I try to get there now and then. I don't get there as often as I would like to. Star Wars fans need to get used to Disney making more content for the rest of our lives. I mean, well, yeah. Doctor Who God storyline. Should the Black and White Guardians come back? I still need to watch the Black Guardian trilogy from Five's era. I don't know if there's that much to actually do with them. I don't think they're that interesting as characters. Is my gut instinct, but I do still need to watch that. Separate artist from art, not really a thing? No, it's not. Hand of Omega. Again, I've done full videos talking about why that doesn't work. But yeah. 5 minutes, Vera. Thank you, Carolyn, very much. Supreme Omega. Thank you very much for the super chat. Pros and cons of JMS's writing style in your view. So for folks who don't know, JMS is J. Michael Straczynski, who was the showrunner and wrote the vast majority of the episodes for Babylon 5. He's written for comics. He's written Spider-Man. He's written Superman. He wrote for the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. He's all over the place. Very prolific. Very talented. However, the man often does too much and doesn't know what his own weaknesses are. And I'm now, in giving that answer, I am specifically thinking about Babylon 5. I'm thinking about the episodes that have some really badly injected moments of comedy. Actually, Supreme Omega, I worry that I can give you the heart for that, so just in case. Like, the comedy is really bad. Whenever they try and do like a very obvious comic bit, he needed to just stop. He honestly needed to not write as many scripts as he did. He needed to be willing to let more people in. But I would say the main problem with JMS's writing is that you can tell when he's not invested in what he's doing. When he's writing it because this is a plot point that has to happen, as opposed to this is a story he really wants to tell. Now, on the flip side, the man knows, he knows what needs to be there, by and large. If it's there, he's going to do something with it. He is a very thorough writer. And he is very good at figuring out good places to take characters. As long as they don't get derailed by plot turns, that might be a bad idea, which canon does happen, but that canon does happen with all of them. So, Have you heard Hex on Big Finish? Nope. Don't even know what that is. No, I was just cleaning them, Ms. Wicked Wolf. I can separate art from the artist more during the Hays Code days because Hollywood was a toxic boys club top to bottom. There would be no movies left. Well, understand, when I say you can't separate the art from the artist, that's not a condemnation of the art. This is one of the things about that whole notion. People talk about it as because the people who made it are assholes, we can't possibly like it. Two things can be true. You can be aware that the people who made something were bad people, but still see the beauty in it. These are not contradictory things. And actually, I think part of the reason it's important that we don't separate the art from the artist is separating the art from the artist. It perpetuates this idea or this need for the things that we like to be made by good people, which is just not reflective of reality. When I say you can't separate the artist from the art, that doesn't mean I think you have to condemn everything that was ever made by a bad person, as a work of art. But I also think it is unhealthy for yourself and also for the view of art as a whole to act as if who that person was, their good sides and their bad, is a direct contributor to the thing that you claim to like. I think it's a denigration of art itself to try and separate the artist from the art, to treat art as if it exists in a vacuum out in the ether and isn't the product of the mind and the actions and the thoughts and the life experiences, good and bad, of the people who made it. If you're not going to do a proper appreciation of art, fine, that's your call. But in my mind, you can't claim to appreciate something while ignoring who made it. You can't, because you're refusing to engage in a massive part of what it even is. Okay, that's enough of that. We're gonna wrap that up. Do you have a favorite little-known sci-fi that you would recommend? No, not off the top of my head. I really don't. Sounds like there's a heavy dose of context to the art versus art issue as well. Oh yeah, but like there's the additional complications of, is the person still alive? Does supporting their artwork potentially embolden them to do active damage, which is the case with somebody like J.K. Rowling? You know, it's like there's all levels of complication in this. Hey, Bobby, we're just wrapping up, so your timing could have been better, but nice to see you. But anyways, I think we are going to wrap it up there. Death of the Author is about literary interpretation, not ethics. That is correct, No Fate Project, which is why when I go off on the way that I did, I use the phrase separate the artist from the art, not Death of the Author, because Death of the Author is only about the interpretation and meaning of a work, as opposed to separating the idea that, you know, that it was made by a human being at all, which is often what the separate the artist from the art people do. Because I am a Death of the Author person. I think the author's intent for a piece of work is irrelevant to what you think about it or what you took away from it. They don't get to dictate what meaning you take. They don't. They don't. Anyways, so stuff coming up. This Saturday's video was going to be about how subtitles are kind of garbage now. That is getting bumped to next weekend. Saturday's video is going to be about Bo DeMeo, the showrunner for X-Men 97, and all the weirdness that has gone on with that, because it's been really, really, really weird. So I just shot that today, so I need to edit that and get that up in early access for the patrons and the YouTube members. So that's that. I will be streaming on Twitch tomorrow and Friday. Probably more SteamWorld Heist because I've been enjoying that, and it's a good one to stream because it's turn-based, so I can pause between stuff and check the chat and interact and all the rest of that. I think that's about it for what's coming up in the immediate. So thank you all for joining me, and this has been fun. I need to go eat something is what I need to do, because I just had a whole hard cider on an empty stomach, and I should have food. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of the day, a great rest of the week, a wonderful autumn. Because next time we speak, it's going to be October. And who knows how I might look on that. I don't know if I'll actually get done up for that stream. But in any case, thank you very much for joining me. Be well, be safe, be kind. You are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You're the council, and I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. McCavity!